This is The Party with Serene
and Pearl.
Get it right, Poddy.
Hey, welcome. We have such an awesome podcast today with Dan Huber.
Good old Dan Huber.
We're going to talk all things light, vision, what light does to our bodies, and what the wrong kind of light does to our bodies. But welcome, Dan.
Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be here.
And I have his bio.
Illustrious bio.
Illustrious bio here. So I'm going to read it. Dan Huber spent much of his career as a mortgage broker in the financial arena, and in 2018 founded blue light glasses company Lucia Eyes. He now speaks on the power of healthy light, as Pearl said, and is considered to be an international expert on healthy light, or as he says, a regular guy that figured out a solution to a problem. He's based in Fort Worth, and he is the father of 7 and married to Tracy for an amazing 31 years.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
We have you here because Serene and I have kind of just like putted around this subject. We know it's important, but we're not experts in it. But if we're going to be like healthy people and do this whole hack your body thing and live great lives, we want to understand what all this artificial light is doing to us and what can we do about it?
Because we're not dyed in the wool yet, and we want to be. We want to be real believers. We're just the people that dabble. Like, I have a pair of glasses, and I put them on like once every 3 weeks. And then I forget about why I'm putting them on. So I want to come to the altar call today.
Gotcha. You want me to start with the whole history, how I got into it?
Yeah, I mean, why are you sitting here with these glasses on, and why did you start a company when you were like a financial guy and now all you think about is glasses and saving people's
You
lives?
better put your glasses
Life.
on that he provided for us today, Pearl, because when you hear all the information, you do not need to be...
So you know how Wonder Woman, she went from Diana to Wonder Woman, she took her glasses off. We're going to turn from ourselves into Wonder Woman by putting them on.
Right.
Right.
And then when we hear about their benefits, we will know.
I do
that
have
we're
to say, though,
receiving.
I've brought some really cheap Amazon's glasses, though, and these are totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys look great. Those are our new styles that are not even on our website yet.
I
So
like them.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't, because I have astigmatism, and usually I see frames in my eyes and all this, and that I'm just seeing clearly. So,
Yeah.
but
Good.
tell us
They're
about
working.
Feels great.
your journey.
2008, I was a mortgage banker, and during the mortgage banking crisis, I'd been doing that for about almost 10 years. And it took about 3 years after that for us to go broke.
Yeah,
And-
everything crashed in the world.
Yeah,
right?
everything crashed. We lost everything. And we moved into a rent house in 2011. And about a year after that, I had gained 45 pounds. I was having headaches, brain fog, fatigue, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, shooting pains, blurred vision.
So you weren't this trim guy that's sitting right
No,
here.
No, thank you. I was working out 3 days a week, doing kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and playing soccer on Sunday nights in an open division as a 45-year-old guy. And then I went to not being able to walk up the stairs.
Wow.
Yeah.
In
with
1
a-
year.
in
And
1
you were
year.
eating the same.
That didn't change, didn't start drinking.
45 pounds.
45 pounds.
Wow.
And then a couple of the kids had asthma. All of the kids would get weird sinus infections or strep throat. We had a miscarriage while we were there. And I went to 7 different doctors who told me, you're too stressed out. Your blood work looks fine. Everything looks normal. You have too many kids, all kinds of stuff. But nobody could tell me what was wrong. And I finally got a friend of our parish priest who had retired as a doctor to take care of her kids, who looked at my blood work, and she said, "Oh, you look fine." I was like, "Oh my gosh, here we go again." She said, "If you're a 98-year-old man with type 2 diabetes." I said, "Okay, finally somebody's saying something's wrong with me," because they were offering me benzos, to just keep me from having anxiety.
Wow.
And we couldn't figure out what it was. That was about 2014. And then in 2015, we went on vacation to the beach for 10 days, and everybody's eyes cleared up, sinuses cleared up. And in Texas, we had a drought for a while. And in 2015, we had a lot of rain. And we figured out our house had been flooding underneath the crawl space.
Wow.
And then we found mold, black
Yeah.
mold. And that was the cause. And that kicked open a whole host of different alternative medicines And so we moved out of that house. We made the mistake of, after that, bringing all of the furniture with us that was covered in the mold.
The spores were in there.
So I got sick again.
Oh.
And there were several different things we did, but the number one thing that changed my health was blocking blue light.
Wow.
How did you come to that knowledge back then? No one was talking about it back then.
There was one guy, his name is Dr. Jack Cruz. He's a
heard of him.
neurosurgeon out of New Orleans. Super brilliant, bombastic, egotistical, smart guy. Curses all the time.
Curses a lot.
It often
yeah.
goes together, right?
Yeah.
Smart
Great
and
man.
egotistical.
Very smart. The only thing I could really take away from him was get in the sun, get sun in your eyes, grounding, and block blue light. So
To get rid of mold or to heal?
to get it out of your body and to heal. So
Because mold attacks your brain, right?
yeah,
So,
so there's
yeah.
a whole lot of things that mold can do. The mycotoxins, the small particles that are on mold, can cross the blood-brain barrier. They camp out in fatty tissue, which your brain is, and that's where all the neurological issues were coming from. So I started changing all the light bulbs out. The kids all thought I was weird, like we were in a Halloween house, because I put red light bulbs everywhere.
Okay, so I need to understand this because I'm going to be doing this to my house.
Yeah.
We
My
talked
man
about
needs
this
to be
before.
here, 'cause
Okay,
he needs to
but-
hear this.
You changed what to what?
So compact fluorescent bulbs and LED lights have a huge spike in the blue light range, and that's because red light takes more energy.
Okay.
Blue light is cooler and it's a shorter wavelength, so it's cheaper to have the LED lights running. It doesn't cost as
But
much
is it
electricity.
like, junk food is cheaper, but you just wrecking your health, so it's more expensive in the end.
Correct.
So you could have a cheaper electricity bill, but what is it doing for you?
Exactly.
Nothing but wrecking you.
Exactly.
You went back to the old school kind of lights that burn out after a while.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
incandescent
saying?
bulbs. And we would get them in.
They don't have to be red. Like if I go find some, where am I going to find some old school?
Well, now that they made them legal again, you can get them on Amazon.
Okay.
Oh.
What
And
do I
there's
look for?
Just incandescent bulbs.
Incandescent bulbs.
Yeah,
okay.
we use the Edison style that has all the little filaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a company called Waveform Lighting, and I'll give it to Nate so you can put it in all the show notes. Not affiliated with them, but they have a flicker-free LED light that is in the warm color temperature of like 3,700 Kelvin.
And so that's okay. Would you say if I want to
Is it as good as the incandescent?
I think it is.
Okay.
We've tested it, and it's almost as good. There's a little bit of flicker, but not something that'll affect
So
your
they're
health.
probably more expensive to buy in the beginning, but they last longer?
Yes.
Okay, and you guys, and we're talking, we're asking him because this guy, even though you don't have like a PhD in light, he knows his stuff. We were talking before about measuring, and Serene had a pair of glasses.
Yeah, and they were expensive. They're
Super
probably
expensive
like
glasses.
one of the best brands out there. And he put them
For blue light blocking.
Yeah, for blue light blocking, and he put them under his, what would you call that?
Spectrometer.
Spectrometer.
Yeah.
And-
Measures the light.
Yeah, and they were daytime ones. They weren't
Yeah.
meant to block 100%, but they were meant to block at least 50, and they blocked like 30%.
30%,
Yeah.
And then we put some of your glasses on, and
It
the
was way
difference
higher.
was
Yeah.
incredible. But back to where we were.
Okay,
you
so-
changed out your home.
Changed out the light bulbs, and I started buying these glasses off of Amazon.
Okay.
And I could not get. The boys would wear them when they were playing games. They didn't care about how they looked, but the girls wouldn't wear them. So,
You mean video games?
yeah, video games are in TV. And so my daughter, Elizabeth, who is 17 at the time, 16, helped me kind of design the website. I found the glasses, the lens manufacturer, and she helped me pick out all the frames, and we launched Lucia Eyes.
Is her name Lucia?
No, her name is Elizabeth. Lucia, we picked Lucia, Saint Lucy,
Oh, okay.
in the Catholic Church, is a patron saint of eyes and eye healing.
Ah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so-
interesting. That's awesome.
You went from buying some on Amazon. Why? I bought blue blocking light glasses from Amazon of different kind of like, I'll try a $20 ones. No, maybe I'll try the $40 ones. I eventually don't wear them.
Right.
I don't know why, because I don't know. I just
know why
can't
you don't
see
wear them.
properly. I forget
Because
why I'm
it's
wearing them.
probably because they haven't done enough for you.
But
Because I got some Lucia Eyes,
Yeah.
the total 100% blocking the red. I got some from his company, and I literally feel a desire to sleep way sooner in the evening. I feel like I'm not all wound up. So I can tell that they're doing something. So you probably don't continue with something if you don't feel a difference.
But why? Because your ones are a little bit more expensive. They're not like super high range like some of them, but they're definitely not $20, right? So why did you start making your own? Did you realize that these ones, most of the ones available are just no good, or are they good?
Well, okay. So let me tell you the first part, how to compare to your story. So if you remember going camping as a kid or even recently, and you're out by the fire and you're running around all day, and by the end of the day, you finish roasting marshmallows and you're sitting telling stories, and you start yawning. You're like, what is going on? Why am I so tired? It must be midnight. And then you're like, it's 8:20. It's time for bed.
Yeah.
It's because your body's on its natural circadian rhythm. So that was the number one thing that got me back to being healthy, because when you're in mold, your body's in constant fight or flight because you have this toxin that's poisoning you. So you never get into parasympathetic. You don't sleep well. And then when you sleep, you go through autophagy and apoptosis where you get the cellular recovery. So sleep for me was the number one thing that helped get me healthy the fastest, and blocking blue light was what did it. Because if you look at your phone at 9 o'clock at night, the color temperature of your phone is the same color temperature as the sun at noon. So you just told your brain it's noon, so it stops releasing melatonin, and suddenly you're doom scrolling till 2 a.m.
Now tell me about night mode, because somebody could be like, well, I just put my phone on night mode, so I'm set. Does that really cut it? Does it really cut enough of that blue light?
It cuts some of it. I can show you on your iPhone. I don't know how to do it on an Android, so I know there's a way to do it, but you can change the color settings so you can get it more into the red.
Right.
So,
but still, if you've got the light on in your room, you're inundated with blue light. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me answer your question first. So you asked how I went to start this company.
Yeah.
So I went and found the best lens manufacturer I could, because when I figured out how sick I was and what caused it, I wanted to utilize the best products and technology for my kids. Obviously for myself, but my kids are on the screens all the time.
Right.
And so when I figured out the damaging health effects of blue light, I wanted to protect them, because kids, their pupils when they're younger are bigger than ours, so they absorb way more.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And even as the children get older, even if they go off to college, the hours of research and hours on the computer cramming for tests, I mean, I bet that's just an incredible time that's important for them to get into blue light blocking.
Yeah, and we wanted to establish the habits early. Now they fight and they still, but they police each other. So
they police each other.
Do you go with, like, you want screen time, you go with glasses? Is that kind of the rule in your home? Or?
Everybody shouts at one another.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Mom, he's on the computer.
So
without
if you
his
had,
glasses.
do you have grandchildren yet?
I have one grandchild. He's 6 months old. It's
so
wonderful.
once he gets to be a toddler and starts to have a little screen time, are you going to be like, hey, get that boy or girl, get them some glasses?
My son Luke is the one. He's the one who had the first grandbaby for us. His wife, she's way better. So I don't have to worry about it.
All right.
She's very protective.
Okay, but so I want to go back to this question because I haven't quite finished it. I'm going to pull it out of you. This person that you found with these amazing lenses, I mean, what were you seeking that the cheap ones on Amazon didn't have?
Test data. So we looked at the test data to see which ones had the best results at blocking blue light. So we found the lenses from a company out of Georgia. We source our frames where everybody does, from China. And then our dispensary, the one that surfaces the lenses and cuts them to fit the frame, is in San Diego.
Now, you told us something, prior to coming on air, which was so interesting, that a lot of times the reason why, the Amazon brands are cheaper is because it's just a film over the lens. And so you could easily scratch them, when glasses always get scratched, and then they're letting full blue light blocking it, blue light lighting.
So our lenses have the blue light material mixed into the polycarbonate lens, so it goes from front to back all the way through.
Wow.
So if this gets scratched,
but don't scratch those, because I need to take photos.
I'm still good.
You're still good.
Yeah, but I'm going to buy these off you because I like the way I feel in them. I like my vision.
Yeah, you look good in them too.
I'm going to throw.
Now
the big
these are the
bucks.
daylight. There's a difference, right? You wear a different set for the day.
Correct.
Or
Do
you
I
just
really have to though, Dan? I don't.
What's the most important, Dan?
wearing
And answer both of those questions at once.
Wearing something is better than nothing always. So if you're wearing the 50% lenses, you're still getting protection.
Which is the daylight ones.
The
That's
daylight
50%.
ones. Yeah. The nighttime ones, which have a reddish, orangish color, block 100% of the blue light. If you're somebody who's on the computer at night a lot, or you're a shift worker, that's really important at night.
What if you binge watch Netflix?
So I wear these if I'm
percenters.
Yeah, if I'm staying up late or later, then I'll put the full 100% on.
Because when I'm watching a TV screen, I find that if I watch more than 2 shows, let's say they're 45 minutes, but I'm going through a series, I find I feel a little headachy. Is that some light that I shouldn't be getting?
Light. Yeah.
Okay. So I should wear these when I'm watching at night.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can we...
Or if you can handle it and it's after 9 o'clock, you put the full stuff on, right? Because it's time to be winding down.
I know, but I want to see my TV properly.
Oh, I can see it with the full.
You can?
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
It's a trade-off.
Let's talk about blue light. Obviously, God made it, right? There is blue light in this world, and it comes out in the sun, and we get it in the middle of the day. But you were talking about how blocking it can help you heal from mold, but what happens when we get too much living in this culture that we do where we're all exposed to it?
But it's not just too much, because he was telling us, which I found so interesting, is that blue light in nature also comes with that antagonizing red light, which balances it. Is this true, Dan?
Yeah, so the sun always has about 40% red light with it. So
That's
it's
a lot.
always full spectrum light, which is how we were designed. So the closest match to that is the fire or candles.
Huh.
So you think
That's
about...
beautiful and soothing.
Isn't it? So the sun creates these trees.
Yeah.
We cut the wood and then get that energy out of the trees, and we get it back in the form of basically like sunlight.
Beautiful.
So those two things are matched perfectly. So blue light can cause... It depletes dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, so you can become anxious, depressed, and not able to sleep.
When it's not mixed with this balance.
When it doesn't have the balance of the red light.
And then you've got people all day inside, behind desks, on computer screens, not even seeing daylight, all day long, receiving no red light at all.
Right.
Then they go home.
Because the windows, even if you're sitting in an office with big windows, the UV filter that they put on the windows so it doesn't fade out your furniture is cutting you into more pieces of blue light. So you're getting more blue light behind a window than you would if you just open the window.
Wow.
And because light is both a particle and a wave, so even if you open the window, the light's still coming through and you're getting some benefit from it.
Wow.
So would you call this an epidemic?
Oh gosh, horrible.
Could it be affecting our hormones?
Do you think
hormones, blood sugar, sleep?
You reckon the rise, the almost the epidemic, like the word Pearl chose, of depression and anxiety these days? Do you think it's because most people's indoor lighting has changed to these non-incandescent, but the what do you call it? The LEDs.
From screens, light bulbs, sitting inside, never getting outside. We spend 95% of our time indoors. Or when we were kids, we were outside all the time.
All the time.
Let's go back to your story. So
Sure.
You started, the first thing you did was like, I need different light. I need to block the blue light. Did you do anything else?
To recover from mold?
Yeah, or was that the biggest thing that helped you recover? And how long did that take?
Yeah, so that was a huge journey.
Yeah.
So the whole protocol for mold, and we have a free download on our website. It's called the mold. I think it's called the mold protocol, simple mold protocol. So you want to get away from the mold. If you find it in your house and it's horribly everywhere like we were, you have to move out. If you find a little bit of it, don't let the contractor just clean it with bleach. You have to just take it out, tear it out, get rid of it. If you had, like we did, ours was under the house and our HVA system vents were there. So it was sucking up all of those mycotoxins and blowing them back over the whole family.
Was it the black mold, or was it just mold?
We had two. We had the Stachybotrys and Aspergillus penicillium. So the black mold is Stachybotrys, the green is Aspergillus.
And I have one of those big, I just tell you this because I'm not a very good bathroom cleaner. I have a huge shower that my husband loves, and we built this home, and it's
That's called
huge.
mildew.
No. In one corner that I don't clean properly, I notice that there's black splotches. Is that killing? Is that doing the bad things to me, or is that just
That's a little bit. I don't
Oh.
think, if you want to use a food grade hydrogen peroxide to clean it,
Is that what I
that'll
should
get
do?
rid of it.
Because
Yeah.
I was since
More
I've
so
seen
than
it.
bleach.
Yeah, don't
Since
use
I've
bleach.
seen it,
Yeah.
I've been scared of it, so it's
Yeah.
still there. So I don't know
Yeah.
what. So
Now,
that's what I
hate
should
bleach.
do.
Hate. But
Yeah.
tell me why you hate it.
Well, as far as mold goes, it doesn't do enough to kill it. It just makes it angry. And when it's starting to die, that's when they release the mycotoxins. And
So-
then the mycotoxins camp out. And then when they get the right environment, they can stay there. And then poof, that's where
So
you get
food
mold.
grade.
Is that the regular
Hydrogen
stuff in the
peroxide.
brown bottle at Walgreens?
That's 3%. Food grade is 30%.
Yeah. So I order it off the internet, spray it, leave it alone.
Full strength.
Full strength. You can dilute it 50% if you want, just for regular. We dilute it like 20-1 for regular cleaning. Yeah. And other days we use ammonia and water mix.
Ammonia is not bleach.
No.
No, it's pee.
Right.
Is it?
Pee.
You're gonna. I'm not a chemist. I think I failed chemistry in high school.
But this is very, very interesting. That's something to really know, that it actually just agitates.
Yeah.
It doesn't really kill. Isn't that intriguing? So if I did 100% to kill like mildew in my shower, can I breathe at the same time as we're scrubbing that? Like I need a mask?
Do it quickly.
Okay.
That's why we dilute it. If you only have a little bit in there, you're not gonna. I mean, you could just use regular ammonia and a scrubby, and it'll be fine.
Okay.
And just spray it down and get rid
But
of it.
really, you guys got so sick because that was going through your HVAC.
Yeah, I can show you some pictures of stuff. It was
yeah.
really horrible. So
Oh my goodness.
So how do you, I mean, like, did you start to just, obviously your body got back into a parasympathetic, right? And that's the healing, right? That's how we heal.
So we did there's a whole bunch of things to do for the protocol. Number one, get out of the space where you're at.
Yeah.
If you can't get out, try and create a safe sleeping space. So find one bedroom that doesn't have mold, keep fresh air coming in, recirculating, use some sort of good purifier to keep that sleep area clean. And then just try to stay away from it as much as possible. Like some people get stuck in an apartment and they have to fight the landlord and they can't move. We lost money on the house. We lost all our furniture, all my books. We kept my pictures, our pictures and yearbooks. We left them in a storage unit for 4 years and then put them in the sun. The sun will kill the mold.
Okay.
Wow. Isn't that interesting?
And isn't that amazing though? And when we were talking, you said, one part of your healing protocol was just get in the sun in the morning, right?
Yeah, so let's go through the rest of it. So get out. Binders like activated charcoal, bentonite clay. There's a cholesterol medication called cholestyramine, which binds to the mold toxins, which end up in your stomach bile, and then you eliminate them that way. That's what the binders do. Try to get your detox functions back. Drink lots of water. Get moving, rebounding. One of the vibrating plates.
For sure.
Sauna. Could not live without the sauna.
Now, infrared or just plain
Either
old-
one. I
yeah.
like the traditional, but the infrared was good to get into the muscles deep because the red light heals you. Make sure you wipe the sweat off with a towel. Don't just shower off because it can reabsorb. I ended up at a doctor's clinic, Dr. Charles Hamill, and he recently retired. We had bought his clinic in 2020 because I was afraid he was going to die or retire. He got into the allergy side of healing with allergy shots because he had a fire ant bite where he nearly died from it in the early 80s. So he got into LDI, LDA. So we did the LDI shots to help your body get accustomed to the things that are irritants and allergens, because when your system is so overloaded with these toxins, the bathtub, with the clogged drain, you're just going to overflow.
Yeah.
And so I ended up being really allergic to fragrances. Pesticides are still horrible. Diesel exhaust, some dust, but like ragweed and juniper.
Things that you weren't allergic to before the mold. How do you feel? Like, you look like a very healthy specimen of a man now. I would never have known you went through that. Do you feel like how much of a healing are you experiencing all these years later? Or how long did it take?
It took about a full year after
Okay.
getting out to where I started to feel more comfortable. But then you would have the irritants and aggravations. After the banking business, I was in oil and gas. And so I would travel a lot, and if I'd get stuck on a long airplane flight next to somebody who was covered in Axe body spray,
Yeah.
I would have a
Right.
have a
so interesting.
like not only a migraine but like chest pains
Wow.
from the fragrances.
Now I have two things.
Yeah.
I'm going to butt in, big sister.
Do it,
I
do
have
it.
two things. Okay. First of all, I loved what you said when you said red light heals you. When you said, I was asking infrared sauna or regular sauna, and you were talking about, well, red light, go for it because it heals you. So when we put these red lights, the red light glass, well, I don't suppose it's not light, but whenever we get maybe in front of a red light, people can actually put you said your house looked like a Halloween house because you put the red bulbs in.
Or a prostitute house.
Right.
But when you put those lights on, you're not just removing a problem. You're actually bringing a healing. So even if it's just a light bulb from the ceiling and you're not before those, those very incredible, very intense light strobes where people come for like muscle healing. Is it still just the warmth from a red glow like that? Is it healing at that level?
Infrared is great. We would use infrared light bulbs for a while. I kind of redneck rigged one. But then there's a great company called EMR Tech. They have the best red light panels, and they have, from a couple $100 to several $1,000. But using red light is a wonderful healing.
Well, we use red light masks on our faces, like for anti-aging.
Every morning, yeah. But I do want to, and I did for Christmas buy my husband a red light bulb and me, and we put one in our bedside table, because we used to have the salt lamps. It has a beautiful ambiance and had that warm glow, but the salt disintegrates and ruins all of your furniture.
Yeah,
you had like the salt kind of like
salt stain.
It moves and
Hold
goes.
on, you have red lights by your bed.
Yeah, don't be thinking anything. But
I'm thinking things.
No, another thing that he said was, no, this is a question I want to ask. How rigorous did you have to get with your blue light blocking glasses when you said this was my main source of healing? Like, was it something that it was what you do every day? You put your 50% blockers for your daytime, and then at a certain time every night, did you put on your full blockers? Was it like, okay, this is...
my kids call me
serious.
the red light Nazi.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you got Nazi about it.
Yeah, so the other rent house we moved into after the one that had all the mold, the under counter lights in the kitchen were big fluorescent bulbs, so I would squeal at everybody, those don't go on after sundown.
Yeah.
So I was very rigorous with a lot of things, and then it took hours per day.
Yes.
The other thing that was difficult was the diet rotation along with the allergy shots to figure out what you were allergic to, because you want to reduce the inflammation load. So the other things for healing: sweating, doing a kind of a Paleolithic diet, cold plunges, barefoot to see the sunrise every day. That's something I still do.
So what time
about
do you have
the
to get up?
winter? What about the winter? That's what I'm finding tough right now because it's winter, and I usually go out onto my porch every morning and just like let the sun bathe in me. I can't do that because I don't like the cold, and I know cold's good for us too, but I'm a baby girl.
So bundle up, go outside for 5 minutes right when the sun's rising, and just look towards
You still
the
do
sun.
it.
Yeah.
You tough camp.
So
Well, I get in the cold tub and do it. So I'm in the cold
Right,
tub
yeah.
watching the sunrise.
wow.
Wow.
I bet you feel like you could tackle anything.
For about 3 hours afterwards. Then
Wow.
But okay, so do you have to be as Nazi about it all now that you're
Well, it's probably
much
like
more
breathing
into
for
I
him.
want to ask him much more into his healing journey. I want to ask him.
Well, I'm a normal guy, and
Yeah.
I screw up all the time. So no, I don't have to be. But when I was sick, and being so sick for 5 years, and I literally, you tell friends of mine will tell you, we thought you were going to die. Really thought you were going to die because it was so bad.
So you and your wife, are you like the glasses couple? Like when you go out to restaurants and it's, sundown, so like it's just going to be the real terrible lighting out and about in town. Do you both have your special
Well,
glasses?
we're lucky because both of us have to wear prescription
Okay,
glasses,
yeah.
so we always have them on. And that's another thing, contact lenses.
Oh, talk to me about
Yeah,
that. They
so,
did
yeah.
they're like
bad for you.
Yeah?
in
Really?
a bunch
Tell
of
us.
different ways. So
they stop the real sun from getting in, or
So yeah, when you see the sunrise, you don't want to have contacts, glasses, or sunglasses on,
Right.
because otherwise you don't get the rays of the sun into your eyes. that have these things called melanopsin receptors, and I'm going to screw up exactly what they are, but they help set your circadian rhythm and help your body create the melatonin that you're going to use for the next evening.
Okay, so
Are you getting up tomorrow morning when the sun rises and going outside and bundling up?
I'm going to think about it. No, I've been wanting to get up super, super early, you see, for a long time, because I've felt a wooing, okay, to get up in the morning and just have alone time with God before the family wakes up. And
I'll be too cold to be alone with God. I'll be cold.
no,
We
but
only have to go
literally,
out
I've
for a
felt
few
this
minutes.
calling. So
Yeah.
this is a double calling now to get up for other reasons. But I've been wanting to, and I haven't quite made it yet because I don't know, to get up before my whole household. That's quite early.
He's convincing me, but you know what? Sun doesn't
What
rise
was I
that
going to
early
say?
right now.
I was going to say something, and it was really, yes. So if I'm going to be inside a lot for the day, I need to wear these ones, right? Because unless I've changed my bulbs out, because
Right.
my house is
These
big.
ones, some people
so there are
are
parts of my house
listening.
that need.
Serene, some people are not watching,
Okay,
they're
sorry.
listening.
This is the daytime ones. They don't have the
Yeah, they're
strong
an amber
orange
color.
or red.
Yeah,
right,
they're
they're
like
just a light amber.
champagne color.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
Serene goes all in. I'm probably just going to keep with these all day and night, and I'm still doing pretty good.
You're doing great.
Okay, I'm doing
In
great.
your house, Pearl,
Yeah,
at night when
bad.
the sun has gone down, you have to turn your lights on until you change your lights over. I would put the red ones on in the evening because it works. Since I've put your red ones on in the evening, I'm telling you, I'm ready as soon as I hit the pillow, I'm asleep. I don't have to feel like I'm got to go through the motions
winding
in my
down.
brain to wind
Okay,
down.
then you're convincing me, but I want to ask you something. You kind of made me think about this because you said people thought you were going to die,
Mm-hmm.
but you now.
I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, so you now, part of your nonprofit or something, you help those something for teens that are suicidal, and you believe it's from a lot of this blue light. Can you talk to us about
Yeah,
that?
so we have a nonprofit for the 3 or 4 years before 2022. We just utilized the nonprofit to donate glasses to underserved children and needy areas. And in 2022, after the pandemic, the suicide data came out, and the suicide rates among 14-year-olds to 25-year-olds skyrocketed.
But no one was allowed outside in many
Yeah.
cities.
And so it's the number 1 or number 2 killer of kids. Wow. Yeah. It used to be, I think, car wrecks.
Yeah.
But so we shifted the mission of the nonprofit to help kids overcome anxiety, depression, and hopefully suicide. You can't, if they kill themselves, you can't help them with whatever else problems they're having.
Yeah.
And since blue light, this is even before you get to the content of what
Okay.
they're, the FOMO or the depression that they get from that. The non-native EMF that comes off of your telephone, the electromagnetic frequencies, and the color, it gives you brain damage. And since it depletes serotonin and dopamine, you become anxious and depressed. And then you get to the content where their lives don't match up to the nonsense they're reading that's
Right.
not real anyways.
Yeah.
So we partnered up with a group out of Utah called their Hope Squads. And they're in 1,700 schools across the country. It was started by a guy named Dr. Greg Hudnall. He started it when he had to come for, I think, the 3rd or 4th time to a school to identify a body. And he developed this program where it's peer-led. So the kids in the school get a survey and they vote on other children as who would be the most likable, approachable, friendly to if you had an issue to go talk to. So these kids get nominated. They either accept or they don't. And if they accept, they get trained. And then the kids have somebody that's not a pastor or a teacher or their parent or a counselor or the principal or even the school nurse that they can go to talk to. And then if there is a serious outcry event, the Hope Squad kids are trained that they go reach out to somebody else. And since he
Right.
started it in his district, school district, I think in Salt Lake, I don't remember, 0 suicides.
Wow, that's incredible.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
And
so huge work he's doing.
Rel,
Yeah.
so we're going about our lives. We don't even realize the impact of these times that we live in.
And
we're
what we
looking at.
think is now normal daily life. It's not even normal, is
No.
it? It's not
No.
normal. So we think we're kind of strange and crazy and part of the quack club, right? To wear these.
Well, now it's cool.
Amber or red, right.
5 years ago, it wasn't cool. Now
Right.
it's cool.
Well, can I
It's
ask?
cool, but it's not abnormal. Actually, this is actually putting us back to normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that's it's like when we grew up, we didn't have screens, so this
And
is
like you
putting
said,
us-
we played out all. I mean, we had to be called in for dinner.
Okay, I have two important questions before we finish this podcast. And they are, one, I want to talk about glasses for kids, and you carry them. And I want to talk about then. Can I go the last question first then?
Sure.
There's a lot of confusion when you go out there, because I've done it, about what glasses to buy. Now, obviously, we're talking to Lucia Eyes and we believe in what we've seen, your data and everything. But sometimes I go on the net and I see, hey, Block's 99%, 99.6.
Yes, but remember, that's just the little coating that gets
Yes.
scratched in the first week.
Yeah. So you said to me there's about 4 companies that do it well. Now, we're not going to necessarily name them all, but what do we look for if not going to Lucia Eyes?
But let me
Yeah.
tell you something really quick before he answers it. I have one of those 4 companies that does
I
it
know.
well, and it didn't match up today.
True.
So make sure they have data posted,
Yeah.
test data, and Swanwick is really good. Raw Optics is really good.
Gee, he's kind. He just goes and says other companies that
even,
are
you
your
know,
competition.
I'm glad we're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
I would, if you don't buy from me, buy from somebody
Yeah.
and get yourself protected, get your kids protected.
But you know why? Because he knows how awful it feels like
Yeah, this is your heart
to be
and soul.
broken. So he
Yeah.
just wants people fixed, whether they...
Yeah, and I've seen
Yeah.
the kids, man. They're
Yeah.
having the hardest time.
Wow.
They have the hardest time coping.
Have you noticed a difference in the attitudes and the mental game of your own children?
Yeah. You can tell.
Wow.
You can tell totally. Yeah, there was a guy, I think his name is John Ott, who did a study in the 70s. He was, I think he was a stop motion photographer, but he did a time-lapse photography of these kids. I think it was in Florida, where he kept the camera on in the schoolroom under the fluorescent lights, and they showed all of this ADHD type activity. They swapped out the lights, opened the windows, and all of that went away.
So do you feel like blocking the blue light with glasses like your company or some of the other good companies that you mentioned is like a no-brainer that we started to realize now? You don't feed your children cornflakes for breakfast and expect them to
Or
behave.
red dye.
Or red dye 40, or you just don't feed, like, yeah, go have a pop, go have a Coke at 11:30 in the morning, and expect them to function well. You're saying you have seen experientially in your family that these glasses have changed the mental attitude and the
It's
atmosphere of your home then.
It's hard to quantify it, with specifics, but overall, like you were talking about, there's a general peaceful feeling.
Yeah.
There's not so much irritability and
Yeah.
crankiness. They're easier to go to bed. They're more compliant when they wear it. And
Yeah.
to your point about everybody screws up, I love Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to eat them ever again after reading about some of the stuff that's
Yeah.
in, but
We're all imperfect. We don't have to be
Yes.
perfect, but we have to do the things.
right.
But I mean, they just now banned red dye 40, didn't they? Just came out, right? But I wonder, like Serene, you were saying, how long is it going to take before they start to say, hey, all that blue light, let's do something about it.
And until they do it, and they change the light emitting from the computer screens and the TVs and the lights they sell at Lowe's for our houses, we need to do this. We need to put the glasses on.
Yeah, and hopefully there's changes coming. I don't know. It looks like there's some good stuff started.
Yeah.
But like you guys and the good work you're doing and bringing awareness to people is a great start. It's really a great start, and it really feels like the general population, like we were talking about the prairie skirts and the bonnets and the homeschool people who have their own chickens and goats. Now people are going, oh, well, they're not so weird.
Yeah.
They were kind of countercultural for
Yes.
the past however long. Now they're like, can we buy some eggs from you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You got any land for sale?
Right, exactly.
Oh my goodness, how many Serene and Sam, her husband, just accumulated land when we came out here and started to live on the hilltop.
Well, we peed on a bunch of it, and then
Hundreds of
somehow
acres,
God-
and it was all cheap back then. They
Speaking of
accumulated
ammonia.
hundreds of acres, and now you've got people lining up to buy that acreage.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to come out here and live on the hilltop.
Yeah, we were the weirdos that did it really hard,
Yeah.
and now people want that hard lifestyle too.
Yeah, they do.
Well, like you both said, it's a balance, and everybody screws up, so you just step up wipe yourself off, dust yourself off, and keep going.
I do
So-
want to say something, because it's like what you said in the beginning, that that experience that you have by the campfire,
Mhm.
and it's just that peaceful, relax, you feel like you've got time to listen to everybody's yarn and tale, and you're starting to yawn as well, because you're winding down. Your parasympathetic nervous system is flowing right. That's what I experience when I put on the Lucia Eyes at night,
Yeah.
Pearl, the red one.
I know you were telling me on the phone.
Because usually by nighttime, I'm like saying things to my husband like, I'm overwhelmed. Just get the children to stop. It's too noisy, because I have a lot of children and now a lot of grandchildren. And sometimes it's just like,
Chaos.
there's more than thing 1 and thing 2. There's thing
Right.
9 and thing 10 running around,
Right.
and I'm like, but now when I wear the red glasses, it's like I can handle what I couldn't handle before.
Yeah.
It's because I'm not in fight or flight.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Serene, you're convincing me. And I think just the science. But, Serene and I, we started this whole Trim Healthy movement because we had an issue, okay? So we were at a crisis. We were done. We'd tried everything out there, and our health was undone.
Right.
So we put all our efforts into this. And that's why, hundreds of thousands of lives have been changed. But so we didn't get this whole, compulsion to do the same thing with light, but you went through a crisis. And so that's why you're so passionate, and that's why we can learn from you.
Right.
And take that hardship you went through and all the things you learned and now put on these.
That was my
I'm
prayer
thankful
every
for
day.
that.
I'd sleep on my side, and I'd lift my arm to see if I had any strength, and it would fall down, and I would say,
Really?
I'd say, okay, God, please take this away, but don't let it go to waste.
Wow.
And it hasn't.
Mhm.
Do you get stories come in? I'd love to hear, because we get stories and that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Do you get stories about people's lives change? What are the sort of things you're hearing?
Thank God for the nighttime blue light blocking glasses for my kid.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to fight to put him to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank God my headaches and migraines are gone. I didn't realize it. I thought I was losing my vision. All kinds of stories.
So
I lost
interesting.
weight.
Wow.
interesting.
What? Say that again.
Well, he lost
because-
45 pounds. Pearl.
Yeah, because it's the cortisol going down, right?
Right.
Parasympathetic.
Yeah, you're not having that fight or flight and then feeding that short-term energy with sugar, and you're not crashing.
Interesting.
But it's so huge what he said there. I'm not having to fight my children to go to sleep. Do you know how many hours parents spend researching on how to get their children to sleep, and how many different plans and methods they go through, and little special
routines.
and they even sell these things now that have certain lights that should signal to their brain, that it's nighttime, and certain lullaby songs that come on at certain hours. But really, it's all amok if there's still these
Well, then, since
blue
you've been
lights
through
overhead.
it, and way before most other people, because, so I'd still call us, if Serene and I start really getting into these glasses,
I'm
she's
in.
already adopted.
I've come to the old
You
school
were
today.
super early adopter. Are we still middling early adopters?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
I would
So
say
the rest
you're-
of us that are going to do something today, we're still early adopters.
Yeah, I just remember the times before we had these, we would, pulling our hair out like.
Yeah.
And
like
I'm going to
you.
be a policewoman now. Hey,
Well, that's what I wanna
video
ask
team in the
him.
room. I'm going to give, pressure when you guys turn up without your glasses.
Well, I want to ask you then. You went through it before all of us. What are some tips and tricks to actually help you get your children to wear them? Because that's what, right now, we have mamas listening and they're like, well, how on earth am I going to make my children
Well,
wear
my
them?
favorite thing to do with the kids before we would say, okay, everybody line up for shots, and we'd give them shots of Benadryl, and mom and dad would do a shot of tequila to get when we were out of energy. But my favorite thing,
I love that you admitted that.
I love that.
no, we were horrible parents. But my favorite thing to do with the little kids is say, I bet you can't do it. Oh, you're not big enough to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not
So
responsible enough to
true.
do this.
Yeah.
So we would use that reverse psychology.
Yeah.
But it's earning the screen time.
Yeah.
They have to earn it.
Wow.
Okay, you can use the screen time for an hour, but you have to wear your glasses.
It's kind of comes with like riding a bike where you wear the helmet. Now, when we grew up, we didn't wear any helmets, but these days I'm glad there's such a thing called
Yes.
seatbelts and helmets that we didn't do.
Mom used to nurse me while driving to the store back then,
And smoking a cigarette, put her makeup on.
Terrible. 4 things at once.
So I feel like, hey, glasses come with a screen. Good, right? We could do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start trying to
Yeah.
train my grandchildren with that. But maybe we'll get my grandchildren to listen to this.
They
Yeah,
should.
but my children always, they go to the petrol station, you call gas station here. We get driving to Florida or something. They always see the little sunglasses rack and they're like, buy me one, buy me one. I feel like my children and grandchildren would like a gift of glasses. I think they'd think it was cool.
Yeah, and it
They
goes
are
with your
cool.
screen.
Yeah.
And then you can educate them, and then they can educate their friends and their cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been so good. I'm inspired. Inspired for my whole family. But we want to let everyone know where exactly, because they're going to want to know, where can they get Lucia glasses?
Well, so I'm really excited because you have agreed to work with us on your own Trim Healthy Mama
Oh, yeah.
designs, which will be coming out soon.
We're
I
going to have
don't
a
know
little
when.
butterfly on the
We
corner.
have a
I
little
think,
butterfly
maybe.
and a little fantastic curation that you guys are going to do. I'm really excited about that. But if everyone goes to luciaeyes.com and they can use the code TrimHealthy20 to get 20% off as a gift for all of your fans and customers.
Yeah, and they don't have to go. We're eventually going to do, the Trim Healthy labeled kind of ones. But if you don't want that,
And the fact is,
just get any of them.
there'll
that-
only be a few, and you might want to look at the whole gamut. They have so many different kinds of frames,
Yeah.
which you can go for your own personality. And remember, they have toddler frames.
Yeah.
Yes,
And children-
also
young youth
prescription,
frames.
right? If you have a prescription, what happens with that?
non-prescription. So you basically you go to the website and punch in your prescription on the drop-down menus, and then you upload a photograph of your prescription. The plano lenses with no prescription are pretty fast to get out. The prescription ones are about maybe 10 days.
So I'm going to make my husband, when he is due for new prescription glasses, right?
Okay.
Could he just go to your website and get them there once he's
Yeah.
got his prescription?
As soon as you have your
Because
prescription.
then he'll be covered.
And what about if it's not a particular prescription? It's just like, you use number 1 readers or number 2.
Readers.
Yeah.
So we have full readers that you can wear, and then we have the half readers. So they're
Okay.
transition.
Yeah,
So they're
transition.
clear on top, and then the readers on bottom. So when you're doing this one, you can read your.
Because my
your screen.
husband doesn't have a particular prescription. He just knows that he needs readers now.
Yeah,
So,
we have
Yeah.
we have prescription, progressive prescriptions, single vision prescriptions, readers, progressive readers, and then plain lens.
You
I
got the whole
thought that I
gamut.
was going to just buy one pair, but now I realize
You have to do both.
I have to have 3 pairs. Guess why? Just because I'm extra, I'm going to have these during the day.
Yeah.
My red light while I watch Netflix at night, and then
And once the light goes down.
no, I read at night before I go to sleep. That's what helps me go to
Yep.
sleep. Paper book.
Yep.
For half an hour. So I'll have my 1.5 readers. then.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm covered.
But you
Takes
may
a lot
find
to be
out
Pearl.
if you
Takes a lot to be Pearl.
if you start putting on your full 100%, you may be too tired when you get into bed. You won't even need to read.
That's
That's
true,
what
but I could
happens
just
to
read a
me.
paragraph and just
Yeah, and fall
good
asleep with
night,
the book on.
Do you know what
world.
happens? I usually have to lay in bed and do my thankful list and do certain things that I do to wind down and to be grateful for life. I don't even get through the second thankfulness and I'm snoring.
Wow.
Had to go.
Yeah.
That's
good.
amazing. That is so
I'm
good.
so grateful you guys had me here. I'm so excited for you
It's
guys
been fun because I love
jump in
learning.
this journey.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm covered. Like I just got the 101 and I understand.
And
this
you know
now.
what I am like? You know this about me. I'm Serene the prop girl.
Yeah,
I
you
always like to have a little prop.
you like to have a prop.
Yeah, so I feel like I've got my little
like a
prop.
nose ring.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
Hey, thanks, Dan.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
have you back.
Yes,
Oh
we
yeah,
will.
I've got another part of the story we can tell.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right.